For those that played some chalk yesterday, fine, fantastic. You had a pretty solid night, I think. I don't know. For those that didn't play chalk and landed on these 1% owned 50 bombs, like, fantastic work. How'd you do it, number one? Let me your time machine, number two. But minutes, and I'm going to go back to the whole minutes is king thing because we've talked about this before. In NBA, everyone should know minutes is everything, right? Have you thought about this? And I think we talked about this probably like a year ago or something, where you use the My Data tab to upload stuff like minutes, right? And see, because have you guys ever done the whole minutes to fantasy points and how correlated it is? It's obviously extremely correlated, right? Do you just like up the amount of minutes in your lineup? Is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing. Do any of you, by the way, project minutes? I think that's really important. Do any of you in here project minutes, or you just project? Because like you kind of have to project minutes to project fantasy points, right? But minutes might be dope, dude. Here's my thing too. When I have the 5%er, because I think we've gotten to the place where, all right, let me get this 5% or 6% in my lineup because we need this, especially in a 150,000 entry tournament to do well. But usually that 5%er is I don't know, like a backup Kelly Olynyk all of a sudden. You know what I mean? That probably won't see more than 22, 23, 24 minutes. Or if we want that 5%er, well, he's 3K, so I could do a 26 to 28 minute guy. But like, there's still 5%ers that are like, I don't know, Devin Booker playing 35 minutes. You know what I mean? Granted, the Kevin Porter stuff's not going to happen. It was overtime. But a Bam Adebayo playing 35 minutes is pretty good. If Drake Crowder is going to play 32, 33 minutes, that's pretty good. Rubio was like, what, 5%, 4% owned, something like that. He played 33, 34 minutes. Like, we don't have to get the 5%, I don't know. Think of someone random. Like, Doncic, I'm going to play a 5% JJ Barea. He's not starting, though, but, like, YOLO, because I have faith in my Puerto Rican friend. No. We can still find these low-owned type of dudes, right? So, I wanted to say, bro, by the way, that 1% PJ Tucker is the worst, dude. What did he play, 40 minutes again? And had 13 fantasy points. You know, that's skill, man. Believe it or not, that's skill. That takes some immense skill. Unless you're PJ Tucker, right? All right. So everything we're talking about right now, exclude PJ Tucker. He does not count. Doesn't matter if he's on the court 48 minutes. That just equals not 13 fantasy points. That would just equal 14. He's awful. Sometimes. But minutes for the most part, unless you're PJ Tucker, do matter. And I don't know, for me, kind of projecting minutes and getting these down packed are pretty essential. Now, do any of you, and I haven't tried this yet, but Tony Snell, do any of you have like some like minimum minutes threshold? I'm not saying to do this. Relax. This is not some new strategy. I'm not going to finesse you guys into losing money doing this. Has anyone ever tried something like this? I'm sure there has to be someone in there in the My Data tab uploading minutes. This guy, if it's not 30 minutes per player, I'm not going to play this lineup or whatever. You know what I mean? But the idea doesn't seem horrible. I'm not going to do it. The idea doesn't seem horrible. What I'm getting at is I should project minutes. Now, here are two ways that I think could work, right? Especially if you don't make your own projections, right? Let's say you have two different projection systems. And every projection system, for the most part now, has why they're giving that person a projection. So if they're giving LeBron, 50 fantasy points, is because he's playing 35 minutes at this fantasy point per minute. You minus the matchup and whatever. So they'll have the minutes part of it. And if you compare minutes between two projection systems, and you put this all on an Excel table, right? And you sort by who has the biggest gap. Maybe get the top 10, top 15 guys and do their minutes only, right? Like, you don't have to go through the whole 10-game slate. But maybe get those top 5, top 10, depending on how much time you have. Get those top 10 guys and go one by one. And make sure you're projecting the minutes accordingly. Why I tell you this is because some sites just get the average of I don't know, the last month, the average of the season, the average of the last year, the average of the last 2 weeks, the average of and that's the minutes they're getting. But obviously that has a lot of noise, especially if there's injuries or trades or whatever mixed in, you know? And just something as simple as that, where, wow, okay, that guy has JaVale McGee for 28 minutes and that one has him for 18 minutes. Someone is clearly wrong, if not both of them. Do your own. Do your own. And if you think he'll have 24 minutes, what are you doing playing the guy? You know what I mean? So that could be one way. Obviously, if you make your own projections, you should be doing this naturally, right? And I guess the other way would be the whole starter versus backup thing, right? I think we talked about this a couple streams ago, where if you're a backup, by default, you're on the losing end of the minutes battle. Unless you're like a Montrezl Harrell or a Lou Williams that comes in after whatever time and then just never comes out the rest of the half, right? And that's how you backdoor your way to 32, 33 minutes. But there aren't very many of these guys. Aaron Gordon, a clear starter, playing his 34, 35 minutes, and he was 3% owned yesterday or whatever and dropped 50. Like, you can find some of these values in players that still get a ton of run, but, whatever. You can't predict foul trouble and injuries, unfortunately, would lead to more minutes for bench players usually. Sure. But if you're going to sit there trying to predict who's going to get hot off the bench, oh, this is the Clarkson game, and you've been chasing the Clarkson game for a week, you didn't get it, but now when you finally stop playing him, he finally shoots 3 threes in a row, he makes them all and never sits down the rest of the half, you're kicking yourself, right? But, you don't have to chase, though. There's still guys that are going to get the same 30 minutes Clarkson is going to get that are starters, and you don't have to hope they get hot. You know what I mean? And it's stuff like that when you go back and rewind and say, okay, well, if I just didn't play all the Marvin Williamses of the world or the Kelly Olynyk's of the world or my lineups would have been way better. Dang, and they're different, too, because this guy's 5% off. And I don't know. For me yesterday, that was kind of a lot of dumb lineups for me yesterday. But you can just be way, way better like that. So the whole contrarian thing we've been harping on for, I don't know, the last month and a half, 2 months, doesn't always mean go get backup, Mr. Backup 3000. You don't need to do that, right? I think there are a lot of contrarian options that are still 5% owned that include, I don't know, Aaron Gordon or something.